Okay. I did just try and do one. I was trying to turn the camera around, and for some reason the camera doesn't want to turn around. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you what I'm dealing with, because I'm rather proud of the amount of chaos that I'm dealing with in my life and how I am really learning to go with the flow. It hasn't been like this forever, I can assure you, but I have really done some paradigm shifting and expansion to facilitate what is happening. May not be the norm, it may not be how we always choose to be, but what's happening in my world right now is I had a flood in my home and I couldn't even face it. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't do any of it apart from find somewhere else to live, which my insurance company have supported me with. But just a little insight, there's a really beautiful feeling when you go with the flow. Now, I'm really good at going with the flow when I'm in Bali and Thailand and when everything is going really well. But how does one go with the flow when you are actually in the midst of perceived chaos? Well, the first thing that we have to do, I'm learning, is to change that word from chaos to expanding my paradigm to facilitate what is moving, what is happening, so that I'm not meeting that chaos and that resistance. So I'm in the process of moving into the side passage all the stuff that got wet because I didn't have content insurance, and I'm just going to share with you. So this is some stuff that I'm chucking out. Let's just show you, because I'm going to keep this for reference as well. I don't know if you can see, but this is my living space. Let's go up the garden, and it's currently full of these blowers. So I've still got stuff to shift from the front garden. There's a pink boot. So are you ready for this, guys? I've already done a lot of clearing out. It's very noisy. This is my home that was flooded, and as you can see, if any of you know my home, it was a rather beautiful space. It still is a beautiful space. It was my Pilates studio a few years ago for 25 years, but we have blowers. Ooh, it's very warm in here. So the chaos. Oh, look at that. When I used to do my retreats and stuff, it's my big mirror. I'm hoping my gong isn't damaged. I'm hoping my computer isn't damaged. Fortunately, most of my furniture is raw iron, metal, sort of industrial look. So I think the base of my furniture was kept off the floor. I've taken all my pillows and cushions to wash the covers. So yeah, so it looks like a bomb's hit it. This is my space, and of course I'm going to be getting a new floor. I've got all kinds of ideas though about how life is going to be different. It's going to take about 5 months. So I'm actually looking for a 2-bedroom property at the moment in St Albans or wherever. Maybe I will go and get a 2-bedroom property in Glastonbury or somewhere, although I don't really fancy Glastonbury anymore. So yeah, there's just chaos everywhere. And yet within this chaos, what happened to my home, Ziggy? What happened to our home? Hi guys. So yeah, so in the middle of all this chaos, there's a beautiful flow happening, and I'm really learning how to disassociate from all chaos and be more in the flow, even in the eye of the storm. I have had so many lessons, and I'll probably talk more about this later on, maybe today or tomorrow, because I have a lot of teacher friends who are really on this journey, this path. Sorry about that. Wasn't very good reception. Yeah, everybody is going through masses at the moment. I just put a post earlier from from a friend. If you have a look at my last post, Jan shares beautiful description of what's happening for us who are very much entering and way showing into the new earth, and how life is going to keep on throwing us so many challenges, and how we can learn to sit in the eye of the storm, knowing that we are already here and we're just pulling the rest of humanity to awaken, and things are collapsing, things are breaking down, chaos is happening. We have ideas about how life should look, how we should be, and sometimes it can be a very, very rude awakening. And I'm actually right now feeling the freedom that I felt when I was in Australia and my son wanted to move from Brisbane to Melbourne because he just needed to get away from where he was living in the outback with the kangaroos and a very dodgy landlord. And one day we just literally threw all of his stuff into his car, literally threw the stuff into the car, and we headed off on a 3-day road trip to Melbourne. I have it on an old YouTube channel, that video. I may put it below. It's a beautiful, it was the most beautiful, liberating experience for me of freedom I ever experienced in my entire life, was that road trip. That broke every single, what's the word? You know, like you have an idea in your head at the deepest level of what freedom would feel like. That was the absolute epitome of everything that I imagine freedom to feel like. That feeling of being on the road, in the desert, on the highway, stopping off at little, in the middle. I mean, I've got a lovely friend, what's your name? Gary, who I met in Ned Kelly's, where Ned Kelly stayed, in some really remote inn between little deserted towns in Australia, between Brisbane and Melbourne. Like, that feeling of freedom was so powerful for me, and I will never ever forget that. And I've always wanted to recreate that, and yet I've just realised, and I've been talking to my lovely friend Coco, who is really amazingly meeting me exactly where I need to be met at the moment, which is what happens as we start to let go of all of our expectations about how life should have looked and would look. And it just, this freedom that I have of this, it's liberating. And it was something that Coco said to me about, well, we're going to do a whole talk on it. We're going to talk about ADHD and how that label is just like I said, I've actually come up with an analogy of what ADHD, me sort of thinking, oh, that's it, that's why I make sense to myself now, I've got ADHD, never ever planning or intending to ever use that label. But I said the analogy for me was like, can you imagine if you're a child and you've never ever experienced eating a sweet before, and one day you are exposed to a sweet shop and it's like all of a sudden you would be tasting these sweets, maybe till you felt sick, and then you would think, well, hopefully you'd think, I'm never going to eat sweets again. But wow, what an experience. That was how it felt for me to relate with all of these symptoms about this ADHD. But I realised, and especially speaking with Coco, how it's the paradigm that needs to shift. The paradigm needs to shift to allow us to be so expansive that our container is holding all of us, and we don't need quashing. That's been my motto all along. That's how I live. But we get very reined in through our programming, our conditioning, and this crazy paradigm, this crazy universe, and the whole culture, the whole paradigm, the whole world, and this whole civilization, let's take it to the extreme, is on the cusp of massive change. And if we cannot learn, here's the key message today, it's really important. We're all going to be faced with chaos, we're all going to be faced with challenge, we're all going to be faced with times when we feel so desperate we don't want to be here, we've had enough. And those places, cherish those places are the places where huge transformation happens. Those places however long they take to get out of, and we're very supported right now, and so many of us have been going through it. There is so much opportunity to learn how to surrender and go with the flow. So if you've just jumped on, I've just shared my chaos in my flooded apartment studio, and I am feeling as chilled and as going with the flow as ever. It's exciting. We are literally on a mission, guys. We are the way showers. If you're experiencing a lot of challenge at the moment, know that you are absolutely on the right path. I am available for probably no more than 1 or 2 people to coach through these times if you're struggling. Sorry, just got cut off again. Yeah, I'm really full with everything at the moment. Still selling the magic wand. Was up with somebody after midnight putting in an order for a magic wand, but I'm going to consciously pull back on the amount of work I'm doing around the magic wand, not because it's not the best thing that ever happened in terms of healing frequency devices, because it is, but it's not where I am guided to put all of my attention, because we have work to do. When you're on track, absolutely meticulously in alignment with your soul's purpose, you will know it, you will feel it, and you will be able to then go with the flow. So any kind of stress or anxiety is a wonderful indicator to know that you are not in full alignment. Isn't that right, Ziggy? So from the passage of my home that needs to get all this stuff to the dump, because this is the stuff that got damaged, I bid you farewell, and thank you for listening, guys, and hi Claire. Yeah, I'm still selling the oil. All the oil is sent out. Everyone who's ordered oil, CBD oil and all kinds of oil, is all in the post for you guys. Multiple streams of income, that's the way forwards if you want to be abundant. Never put all your eggs in one basket. This is a time for people to stop doing work that they're not born to do. For many of us, if you're not happy, if you're not feeling fulfilled in life, get yourself